What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with 13 weeks out physique update of the greatest men's physique bodybuilder of all time, Jeremy Buendia. So whether you were a fan of Jeremy Buendia's physique or his personality when he was the reigning champion for 4 consecutive years or not, but you cannot deny the fact that there hasn't been a dominant champion like Jeremy since he lost that title back in 2018. And unless someone goes on to break the record of Jeremy's 4 men's physique title wins, he is gonna be the GOAT of men's physique division forever. So Jeremy wants to end his bodybuilding career by competing at this upcoming Arnold, which is happening next year in March. Because the thing is, he feels like the physique that he presented at the Olympia last year, that wasn't his best look, and there is no doubt about that. And he also said that he could have peaked a lot better. So he wants to end his career at a very high note. So his aim was to put on more size before starting another prep. And that is going to happen in January. And he has been committed to it for months now. So Jeremy took a lot more time sitting on the sideline after 2018. Now he could have taken 1 year off, or even 2, to give himself a break. But he just took way too long. And the division just evolved so much. Plus it is also very hard to get back into that regime of training and dieting and dedicating your life just to bodybuilding once you step away from this. Now with all this incredible talent coming up, Jeremy is gonna have a hard time at a big show like the Arnold. He's obviously training to win. Now 2 of the best men's physique athletes that ever stepped on the Olympia stage, they might compete for the very last time next year. One is Jeremy Buendia and the other one is Brandon Henriksen. So things are looking pretty damn solid for James Hollingshead at 13 weeks out of this upcoming Arnold. So the caption pretty much confirms that James is sticking to his decision that the Arnold, Ohio in March, that is gonna be his first show of the year. So all these guys, including James, they must have a plan B because no one is winning at this upcoming Arnold since Samson Dauda is gonna be there. Now Arnold Brazil or Detroit Pro, they can be very good options to earn their Olympia qualifications. So James Hollingshead just did 2 shows last year, the Arnold Ohio and the Arnold UK. And the man has been working super hard. He has been going balls to the walls to put on more size for months now. And the most exciting part for James in 2025 is that he's going to be prepping with Stefan for the very first time in his career. So chances are James is going to be at his all-time best. And he can be 100% this time. So we are 13 weeks out of this next show. And James is looking very impressive at about 300 pounds. Now, even at that kind of weight, I have got to say he's far from being fat. The man is showcasing insane detail at such a high body weight. And that is such a positive sign for him at the start of his prep. So James made a statement last year that he is gonna give himself another 2 years before he says farewell to the sport of bodybuilding for good. So this is his time to make it count, to make his mark, and maybe finally fulfill his true potential and show up at his 100%. So it is gonna be a lot harder for many of these guys to earn their Olympia qualification for next year in the men's open, simply because the trend is changing and more of these top Olympians, like for instance Tony Burton, they are gonna be competing a lot more. Now I am saying he's a top Olympian because the last time he stepped on the Olympia stage, he was top 8 in the world, and that was last year. And he's coming back after taking the first real off season of his entire career, especially after switching from the 212 into the men's open bodybuilding.
I want to do at least 2 shows. Whether that's winning the first show and qualifying, I'm still going to do a second show.
So just listen to him saying that he's gonna do at least 2 shows next year. And regardless of whether he wins the first one, he's still gonna do another show. And that obviously reduces the chances of some of these other young guys to get their Olympia qualification. So Tony Burton also gave a timeline around where he's gonna compete. So Chicago Pro and Van Pro, they are the ones he is looking at for next year, which simply means one thing: he is gonna give himself a lot more time than we all expected to put on more size and more density.
We talked about Chicago. We've talked about Vancouver. Maybe those 2. Haven't thought about anything overseas.
Now, I believe he could have done the New York Pro or maybe Pittsburgh Pro if he did not get into that accident because he lost some size during that recovery phase. So it is gonna be extremely exciting to see Tony Burton with the added size because he said he wants to put on another 15 to 20 pounds of solid muscle on that same physique that he brought at this year's Cali Pro. And we have to keep in mind, he kind of reminds us of the young Dexter Jackson, and I think Tony Burton can be a lot more combative with the added size if he puts all that size in all the right areas. Next up, we have an update from Patrick Moore. Now, I'm not trying to hate on this guy, but I think 2024 season, that marked the end of Patrick Moore's career as a men's open bodybuilder. Now, we can easily say that he is a veteran of the sport, as he made his Olympia debut back in 2019, and 6 years later, if the judges have that same criticism about him, that he still needs more size, more density, then maybe this is the biggest Patrick's body allows him to get. And on top of that, the placings that he got in 2 shows he did prior to this year's Miss Olympia, they were just so poor that he isn't even being considered a first call-out guy in any of these shows in sort of weak lineups. Now let me tell you guys, he looked pretty damn awesome at this year's Europa Pro. He had all those pretty lines, very aesthetic. He was in a superb condition, but he still just could not make a case for him to be in the top 5 at that show. Now at the Legion Sports, he tried to come in fuller, bigger, and he dropped another spot and he placed 7th. So throughout his career, he has been stuck in a very hard place, but he was always too big for classic and just way too small for the men's open bodybuilding. So his career's best, that is top 10, and that was at his Olympia debut back in 2019. But one cannot ignore the fact that 2019, that was one of the weakest Olympia lineups in a long time, probably the weakest ever. Next up, we have the current off-season physique update of Antoine Violent. So he has now become a father as well. So we have no idea whether he's gonna compete again or not. Now originally, his plan was to take the season off after competing at the Arnold Ohio and the Arnold UK this year and come back next year in these same shows. Now Antoine did look sensational and at his all-time best at the Arnold Ohio, and I think with that same physique, he could have qualified for the Olympia this year. But he just chose not to compete again. So he is at the tail end of his career. Because the thing is, he has been competing for more than a decade now. And there is a high likelihood that anytime Antoine enters another show with a crazy lineup, he isn't gonna win. Because the thing is, even after looking so fabulous at this year's Arnold Ohio, he was still unable to make the final top 5. So throughout his career, Antoine has been fighting to match his upper body to his phenomenal quads. He is one of those guys who is bottom heavy and he has those massive legs. Now I hope he does more than one show next year, like Van Pro or Chicago Pro. And if this is the last year of his combative bodybuilding, then he should end his career at the biggest bodybuilding stage in the world, the Olympia. So hit the thumbs up button if you like the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.